and welcome to Board to Learn, the channel dedicated to helping you learn how to play your new games faster. I'm Kent, and tonight we'll test your courage as we hunt the universal monsters in Horrified, a cooperative experience for 1 to 5 players, designed by Peter Lee and the team at Prospero Hall, with art also by Prospero Hall, published by Ravensburger. So gather your wits and join me at the table, if you dare. Before we begin, a small word of warning. What you're about to experience may be one of the strangest stories ever to creep across a game board. It's thrilling, it's chilling, and if your nerves aren't made of steel, you might just find yourself horrified. So if you'd rather not test your courage tonight, now's your chance to back away. Don't say I didn't warn you. To set up, start by placing the board in the middle of the table. Take a moment to look over the location names on the board. You will need to be familiar with these, as components and instructions will refer to them throughout the game. In the top left corner of the board, you will see the terror track. Place the terror marker on 0. Take the 10 village markers and dice and place them close to the board. Shuffle the monster cards and form a face-down deck close to the board. Now, choose a difficulty level. For your first game, it is recommended to use the creature from the Black Lagoon and Dracula. For future games, refer to the chart on page 5 of the rulebook. Take the monster mats for each chosen monster and place them in a row near the board. Arrange them from lowest to highest frenzy number found under the flame on the upper left side of the monster mat. Take one of the unused monster mats and flip it over. From the instructions found there, finish the setup for each monster being used in this game. Then return all unused monsters and their accessories to the box. Now take the frenzy marker and place it on the monster mat with the lowest frenzy number. In this example, it will be placed on Dracula. With the monster setup complete, let's get the players set up. Randomly hand out hero badges to each player. Place any unused heroes back in the box. Each player will then take their corresponding mover and a reference card. Check the bottom of their badge for their hero's starting location and place their mover at that location on the board. Now choose a first player. The game suggests the person who most recently ate garlic. Shuffle the perk cards and make a face-down deck close to the board. Each player will then draw a perk card and place it face up in front of them. Take and fill the item bag with all 60 item tokens. Draw out 12 tokens and place them on the board at the location indicated on each token. Place the bag near the board. And with that, the setup is complete. The object of Horrified is to defeat the monsters terrorizing the village. Players work together to complete each monster's unique task to expose their weakness and ultimately defeat them. Everyone fails together if one of 2 things happens. Either the terror level reaches its limit or the monster card deck runs out. The game ends in immediate defeat if either of these happens. Gameplay starts with the first player and moves clockwise. Turns consist of 2 phases, taken in this order: the hero phase, then the monster phase. Let's go over the hero phase and the 7 different actions available to perform on your turn. The actions are move, guide, special action, pick up, share, advance, and defeat. You can perform any of these actions multiple times on a turn and in any order. The top of your hero badge shows how many actions you can take each turn. To move your hero, follow along a lit pathway to a neighboring named location. Water locations are not available to move to, and you can only cross the river at one of the 2 bridges. When moving, you may move any number of villagers who share your location to the new location. Monsters do not block or stop your movement. You can pass through or share their space without immediate effect. However, by doing this, you leave yourself in possible danger during the monster phase. The guide action can move one villager from your hero's location to an adjacent one, or move one villager from an adjacent location to your hero's. Villager movements have the same rules as hero movements. Most heroes will have a special action indicated on their badge. This action may be performed multiple times on a turn, using one action each time it is performed. There are no clarifications in the rulebook for each hero, so read the wording carefully. There are 3 heroes that can be placed at certain locations. This is different from move. If you use their special action to place one of these heroes at a new location, villagers cannot travel with them. The professor does not have to be with or adjacent to the person he is moving. To pick up items, take any number of items from your hero's location and place them near your hero badge. Sharing items can happen between any hero at your location. Any number of items can be exchanged between any and all heroes at the location. You do not need to be involved in the trade for it to happen, and it does not need to be a one-to-one trade. The advance action is how to contribute to completing a monster's task. The tasks are specific to each monster and can be found on the bottom half of the monster mat. Use items at a specific location to advance the task. Specific details for each monster can be found on pages 11 through 15 of the rulebook. When you are in the same location as a monster and its task has been completed, you can try to defeat the monster. Refer to the bottom of the monster mat to determine the items needed for this action. You can also refer to pages 11 through 15 of the rulebook for specific details. Those are the 7 different actions that can be taken during the hero phase of a turn. Let's briefly go over some key elements of the game before going into the monster phase of a turn. Villagers will sometimes appear during the monster phase. When this happens, you will be instructed where to place each villager. Villagers have a name on the bottom of the mover and a safe location on the top. If a hero can manage to get the villager to their safe location, the villager is removed from the board back to the supply, and the hero is rewarded with drawing a perk card from the deck. Perk cards are nice bonuses that can help you at key moments throughout the game, but they can be a bit hard to come by. Every player starts with 1 perk card, and they are only earned by getting villagers to their safe locations. Place perk cards face up in front of you. Any player can play perk cards during the hero phase of any player's turn. It is important to discuss what cards everyone has and when to play them to gain the most strategic advantage. Playing a perk card does not use an action. Items are key for advancing tasks and defeating monsters. They can also be used to defend against monster attacks. An item token comes in 3 colors. The strength is on top, and at the bottom is the name and location the item is placed when drawn from the bag. The color, strength, and location can be important when using items for advancing tasks and defeating monsters. Refer to the monster mat or the rulebook pages 11 through 15 for more detail on each monster. After you use an item, form a discard pile on the table. Do not put the items back in the draw bag unless specifically instructed to do so. The last 2 key elements to go over are when a monster is frenzied or defeated. Your efforts to defeat the monster will agitate them, and there is always one monster who is frenzied. During the monster phase, you will see the flame or frenzy symbol pop up. This will always refer to the monster who has the frenzy marker on their mat. In some cases, you will be instructed to move the marker to the next monster. It always rotates to the monster with the next higher frenzy number. If it's already at the highest, it moves to the lowest. If there is only one monster left, the marker will remain on that monster. It will never be removed completely. There is nothing special about a frenzied monster other than they have more chances to attack. When a monster is defeated, it is removed from the game along with any of its accessories, and is no longer considered when it appears on monster cards. If that monster was the frenzied monster at the time, the frenzy marker moves to the monster with the next higher frenzy order, or to the lowest number if it was the highest. Now let's move into the monster phase of a turn. Start by drawing a monster card from the monster deck and resolve in order the 3 parts of the card, top, middle, and bottom. The top of the card has the number of items you will draw from the bag and place on the board. The middle of the card has the event, which will typically involve a monster or villagers depending on the color and the icon above the event tile. Gray is villagers, and any other color will be a specific monster. If the monster is not in the game, you can ignore the event altogether and move to the bottom of the card, the monster strike. The monster strike will be the most involved part of the phase. Look at the monster symbols and resolve them from left to right. If the monster is not in the game, do nothing. For monsters in the game, use the right bottom of the card to resolve their movement and attack. The arrow with the number is the movement. To move a monster, find the closest person to them on the board and move the number of spaces indicated on the card. They will always take the shortest path. Movement stops if they reach a person. If the monster starts at a location with a person already on it, they do not move at all and will just attack. If there is a tie for distance between a hero and villager, the monster will move toward the hero. If the tie is between heroes, it is the active player's decision which hero to move towards. Once the monster has moved, if it reaches a location with a person, it will attack. Again, if there are multiple people at the location, it will attack the hero. If it is between heroes, it is up to the active player who to attack. The bottom right of the monster card will show a picture of dice and a number. Take and roll the appropriate number of dice, and look at the dice results. For exclamation mark, look at the monster's mat in the middle right to determine what happens, or refer to pages 11 through 15 of the rulebook for more detail. If the result is a star symbol, the person was hit. It only takes one hit to be defeated. If a villager is defeated, move the terror marker up one space on the tracker and remove the villager from the board. If the monster is attacking a hero, that hero has a chance to ignore the hit by discarding an item token. They must discard one item per hit symbol rolled. If the hero does not want to discard an item or does not have enough to defend, they are defeated. When a hero is defeated, the terror marker is moved up one space and the hero is removed from the board. You keep all items and perk cards. At the start of the player's next turn, they will place their hero at the hospital and play resumes like normal for them. Keep in mind, if a player discarded items to ignore an attack, they can still be attacked again during the monster phase. Finish each monster's movement and attack before moving to the next monster. If the frenzy symbol is on the monster card, then the frenzied monster will attack. This could be a monster that already attacked this turn. Perform the frenzied monster's strike in the same way described previously. Once you have completed the 3 steps to the monster card, the monster phase is complete, and the next player will start their turn. The game ends in victory for all players if all monsters have been defeated, or it ends in defeat if the terror track reaches the skull, or the monster deck is empty when it comes time to draw a card for the monster phase. How will you fare in this twisted tale? Change the story by introducing different monsters. Didn't find it difficult enough? Try adding a 3rd monster into the mix, or a 4th if you like being punished. For a more strategic game, choose which heroes to use. There are many versions to this story, but with each one, you are sure to be horrified. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing for more great games. Turn the bell on to be notified of my latest video. If you have any questions, drop a comment and I'll do my best to respond. And remember, it's not just how you play, it's how much fun you have. I'll see you next time on Board to Learn.
On the shirt. I'm doing a spider.